In this video, we are looking at the trapezium rule. The trapezium rule is a numerical method which helps us evaluate definite integrals that might otherwise be too complicated to integrate. So it's basically a technique that allows us to find a pretty good approximation for the area under a curve if we can't integrate it to find the exact value. Let's have a look at how this works. Okay, so something you should know here is that there are some functions like y equals e to the half x squared that it's not just that you don't know how to integrate it or that I don't know how to integrate it. E to the half x squared has no analytic integral, which means there is no function that you can write down in terms of standard x's and cos x's and e to the x's and ln x's. There is no answer to that in terms of those kind of standard functions. So all we can do with this is a numerical method. So what the trapezium rule is going to do, it's going to allow us to take something like this, if we wanted to find the area under the curve between 0 and 1, for example, and chop it up into trapeziums. Here's how we do this. We can choose how many strips we split it up into, but let's say we split it up into 4 strips. I just chop down into 4 evenly sized strips, like this, and then I join the tops of these with straight lines. I'll do my best to have straight lines here. So straight line, straight line, straight line, and straight line. So what I've got now is 4 trapeziums. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can work out the area of trapeziums fairly easily. If I add up those 4 trapezium areas, will I get the exact answer? No. I can see in this case it will be a little bit too big, but it's not going to be a bad estimate. And if I split it up into 100 trapeziums, well, then I'd get a really, really excellent approximation. So let's see how we can put together a formula for the trapezium rule. All right, so I'm going to imagine a function, just an in general function like this, that I've chopped up into loads of trapeziums. So here is trapezium number 1, and here is trapezium number 2, and here is trapezium number 3, and so on. And I'm going to just write down how I'd work out the area of each of these. So the first thing to say is, like, how wide are they? Well, it kind of depends what we're doing. So in this case, the width I've decided to take from 0 to 2 and split into 4 chunks. So the width here would be a half. Okay, so let's just say that in general it's h. Okay, we just call it h in each case. So h, 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 h. Now what about the heights? Because remember, the formula for the area of a trapezium is half the sum of the parallel sides and then multiplied by the gap between them, h. That's why I call that h. So I just need to know what's the height of each of these. Well, the height on this side is whatever the y value is here. So it's basically whatever my x value was at the start, I figure out what y is there. And we typically call this y0, not because it's what you get when you sub in 0, it's just what you get for the very first kind of point you sub in. And then the height here we call y1, y2, and so on, all the way up to yn. Okay, so what does that mean about the area of this trapezium? Well, it is half the sum of the 2 parallel sides, which is y0 plus y1, multiplied by the gap between them, which is h. And then I'm going to add my next trapezium in, which is half the 2 parallel sides add together, so that's y1 plus y2, and multiplied by the gap between them. And then I'll just keep going, so half of the sum of the 2 sides, so y2 plus y3, times the gap between them, and I'd continue all the way through, and maybe it's 100, maybe it's thousands, maybe it's millions, maybe it's 4, until I get to the very last one, which is half of, well, the last y value, the height of the last one is yn, so that means we've got yn minus 1 here as the second last, and we multiply by the gap between them. So can I simplify this? Well, yes, I can, because look, I can factorize out half h. I'll write that as h over 2. And what am I left with? Well, I'm left with y0 plus y1 plus y1 plus y2 plus y2 plus y3, all the way up until the last one, which was plus yn minus 1 plus yn. Now, we can simplify that even further, because notice that we get 2 of every term, y1 and y1, y2 and y2, y3 and y3, 2 of all of them apart from the very first and the very last. So we can write this as the very first y value plus the very last y value plus 2 of everything else. So 2 of everything from y1 up to yn minus 1. And that there is the trapezium rule. And I've proved it for you, and now let's look at how we can use it. Okay, so here it is in all its glory, and we're actually going to use it to approximate this area, and we're going to do it over 4 strips. So the information that I need is the value of h, which is just the width of each strip. So for us, if I split it into 4 strips, the width is just a half. Okay, so that is just a half, and that sits 0.5 over 2. And the other stuff I'll need is all of the y values. So I'm actually just going to use my calculator to work out the y values in each of these cases. The first one is the only one that's easy because e to the 0 is 1. Now for the others, I just need to key it into my calculator and record it to a good degree of accuracy. 4 or 5 decimal places should be fine. So e to the half times a half squared is 1.13315. And now e to the half times 1 squared is 1.64872. And I just work through like this. E to the half times 1.5 squared is 3.08022. And then e to the half times 2 squared is 7.3896. So now I know all of these, I can just drop them in. So it's the first, so in terms of what we mean by the y zeros and etc. The y0 is the first term here, y1, y2, y3, and then yn at the end. So this last one is yn. So it's the first one and the last one. So the first one plus the last one, 806 plus 2 of everything else. So 1.13315 plus 1.64872 plus 3.08022. Key all of that into the calculator and you get 5.02831. And there's my approximate answer. Now I'm going to go through a couple of useful calculator tricks now that can help reduce the number of errors and even check your answers. All right, so on your calculator, there's a useful function called a table function. So if you go to your menu and then scroll down and down, option 9 is table. And they invite you to put in your function. So our function is e to the half x squared. So I just key that in, e to the 0.5 x squared. Okay, and now they say, okay, they offer you another function, but we just want one function here. So where do we start? Where do we go to? Well, I started at 0 and went up to 2. So start at 0, go up to 2, and my step each time is 0.5. And now they just produce a little table for me that has all of my y values here. So I can actually just check. I mean, not even just check. I could just do it like this in the first instance. So yeah, 1.3315. Yep, got that one. And the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So we can just sort of produce all of our answers there. So that's a nice quick thing for you to fill in a big table. If I go back to my main view here, I can also check by actually just using the calculator to check this integral. Like the calculator can do this it's basically using trapezium rule with like 1,000 strips. So we can see whether my answer is about right. Now, it's never going to be exactly right, but it should be quite close. So if I do e to the power of 0.5x squared between limits of 0 and 2, I'm hoping it's not too far away. What do we get? 4.7. Okay, that's okay, right? It's like less than a 10% error. You'll sometimes see answers which are even closer, but you know, there we go. And notice that it makes sense that our approximation was a little bit too big than the more exact answer, because if we draw trapeziums over this, they'll always be sitting above the curve, and therefore our approximation is a bit too big. But that's a nice way to check whether you're in the right area. Okay, let's have a look at another example. So complete the table of values for the curve y equals the square root of cos x, and hence use the trapezium rule with a strip of h equals pi over 8 to estimate the value of that integral. Okay, so we can use our table function, or we can just go for it. So, well, cos of 0 is 1 and the square root of 1 is 1, so that one's fairly easy. The next one, I do the square root of cos of 3 pi over 8, and I get, and they seem to be giving four significant figures each time, so 0.6186, and then for pi over 2 we get 0. Okay, so now I can use the trapezium rule, and I know that trapezium rule is h over 2, and then it's the very first one plus the very last one plus 2 of everything in between, so y1 up to yn minus 1. So what is that for us? Well, my strip is pi over 8 wide, so it's pi over 8 over 2. And then my very first y value is 1, and my very last y value is 0. And then it's 2 of all the stuff in between, so 2 times 0.9612 plus 0.8409 plus 0.6186. And then I just key all of this into the calculator and I see what I get. All right, and we get 1.147. They wanted 3 decimal places, so there we go. Okay, there's our answer. It is good to check, so let's do so. So I just compute the integral here. And remember, this is just your calculator being, you know, fast and basically doing trapezium rule with tons and tons of strips. And it's just, my answer should be roughly right. It's not going to be perfect, but just roughly right. Between 0 and pi over 2. So pi over 2. And what do we get? Well, calculator's having a good old think about it. And I get 1.198. Okay, 1.147, that's close enough. Like generally, if you've got something wrong here, you'll have an answer that's way off. So I'm satisfied that I got that right now from that. Okay, there's a part B to this question as well. So state with a reason whether the trapezium rule with a strip of width pi over 16 would give a larger or smaller estimate of the integral. So we had a strip width of pi over 8. So they're saying if we had divided it up into more strips, would it make our answer bigger or smaller? So we had it like this. We had 4 evenly sized strips like this. And what that meant was we were doing quite a big underestimate, right? Because our trapezium did this, right? Every time it was underestimating. Okay, all of our trapezium was sat below the curve. And in fact, you know, when we did our check, we did see the more exact answer was it was a bigger number. So if I had more strips, I split it into 8 strips, this last one here would be much better because look, it would only underestimate by a little bit. It would only underestimate by a little bit here, and then it would hardly underestimate at all between these. So that means that if I used twice as many strips with half the size of the gap between them, it would give certainly a better estimate, but in particular it would give a larger estimate So I can say a larger estimate, and they say with a reason, so I better write the word because, larger estimate because, and I would say something like because trapeziums sit below the curve. Okay, so since the trapeziums sit below the curve, it meant that the more strips I make, the closer it will be, and it will be going up, and it will be increasing until it gets closer and closer to the real answer. Okay, I hope that's been a useful look at using the trapezium rule. I will see you in the next video.